Today, I'm gonna teach you how to be rich in 2025. Wait a minute, is that bad to say? It's maybe the wrong question to ask is it bad to say? Is it bad to want to be rich? Let's reframe it and let's talk about it. First of all, there's this song that my kids and I and my husband have been listening to for a while. It's from one of TobyMac's unreleased albums. He pulled it from the archives and then he released these like tape sessions, right? And it's called Rich. And it brought about an interesting conversation with our kids because they were listening to the lyrics saying, wait a minute, what? Because he says, I want to be rich. Yes, I want to be rich. And immediately our kids were like, wait a minute, what did he just say? Well, then he goes on to say, I want to be rich in love. I want to be rich in friends, in family, right? He's talking about the things that really matter. So let's talk about this because you're a business owner and you are a faith-driven business owner. And sometimes this conversation around money is challenging, right? It's like, oh, should I feel guilty saying that I want to make money? I want to be rich? Well, let's talk about this in a different way. Let's first of all look at Luke 12:16 through 21. I'm just gonna read it. And he told them this parable. The ground of a certain rich man yielded an abundant harvest. He thought to himself, what shall I do? I have no place to store my crops. Then he said, this is what I'll do. I will tear down my barns and build bigger ones, and there I will store my surplus grain. And I'll say to myself, you have plenty of grain laid up for many years. Take life easy, eat, drink, and be merry. But God said to him, you fool, this very night your life will be demanded from you. Then who will get what you have prepared for yourself? This is how it will be for whoever stores up things for themselves, but is not rich towards God. So that's an interesting parable, right? There's actually this children's Bible that we bought for our kids when they were little. And the story is in there. And our little girl, our middle child, when she was, 3 years old, she had it memorized. She couldn't read yet, but she would open it up and she would tell us the story. And there's this phrase all throughout the book that says, the farmer didn't think about that. And she would say in her cute little voice, and the farmer didn't think about that, right? Because the farmer wasn't thinking eternally. And so what this scripture is talking about and what I believe we can take away is we need to ask ourselves not, is it bad to want to be rich or is it bad to have money? It's how can I be rich towards God? How can I be rich towards God? And how can I think about that, right? How can I think eternally and not think just worldly? So is it wrong to be rich? Well, no, I don't think that it is. I think that it's telling us to make sure we're not storing up things that fade away, right? If the only thing that matters is our monetary gain, our material possessions on earth, then we would be really sad to lose them all, right? We're storing up all of our treasures on earth. And if you've been around church and you went to Sunday school, you heard all of these things, I get it, but it's not cliche. This is not something that we should outgrow. I think sometimes as Christians, we hear the same stories over and over again our whole lives, and we forget the depth and the meaning and the beauty in them. So it's important for us to ask the question, not is it bad to be rich? Is it bad to want money? No, it's not, as long as we are surrendered and we are mindful and we are asking ourselves the question, how can I be rich towards God, right? So I'm gonna give you 5 ways to be rich in 2025. Number 1, be honest. Be honest. We have family, we have friends, we have a home. You are rich, right? Let's be honest with ourselves. Let's not live in the gap. If you've been around here for a while, you know I say that a lot. Let's not live in the gap. Let's measure backwards and let's live in the gain. Be honest about the fact that you are rich. And if you live in the United States, if you think practically speaking, you actually are among the richest people in the world, right? If you compare to the entire world. And so we really are so blessed. We have a home, we have family, if you have a job, right? If you have community. So let's redefine rich. It's not just money. Let's be honest about that fact. And it's okay to say, you know what? I am rich. I'm rich in love, I'm rich in family, I'm rich in home and community, and there's so much more joy in that. So let's be honest. If you want to be rich in 2025, be honest. Number 2 is be grateful. So as I was preparing for this video, I was going through some of my old notes. I have Notes app on my phone, and I am a note taker. And even if it's just one single line, I'll write it down there because I know I can scroll back through and I can find it. I wrote that one thing down, right? Well, for some reason, I ended up back at the very beginning of this notes, which was 2011. I don't know why my phone scrolled to the bottom, but I opened it up and there it was. And so I was scrolling through 2011 and 2012, and my goodness, it was such a stroll down memory lane. I was recording my first album in Nashville. We were going through all of the songwriting and then the vocal production notes and then the radio tour and all of these different things that I never imagined I would get to do. And then looking at all of the goals and the dreams and the hopes that I journaled through those notes and realized that now I'm walking in answered prayer. I'm walking in miracles and in a life that I never dreamed was possible. I hoped for it, but I honestly, if I'm totally honest, there was a while where I didn't think that it was gonna happen. And so I am choosing to be grateful. And that is how we can be rich in 2025, is to be grateful for how far you've come and for where you are now. Because even if you're in a hard spot, even if your financial goals feel so far away and you've got a ton of debt because you're trying to grow the business and your family needs a paycheck, but it's hard to bring it home because the business has expenses, whatever that looks like for you, I just encourage you to stop and look back and say, wait a minute. Am I walking in answered prayer? Am I living the life that I asked for 10 years ago? That will bring you to gratitude. So that's number 2, be grateful. Number 3, be generous. Our family value is to live a life of generosity. Now, God has taught us to be generous with a little, and therefore, all throughout our journey, as I looked back through those notes, I realized that there were prayers and there were hopes and dreams where, we wanted to be able to give more to ministries that we were passionate about. But God was calling us to be faithful with a little. And so my husband and I just decided, okay, we are always gonna plan to give first. Always, no matter what. Whether it's like, we got $500, so this $50 is going first. We don't actually get to spend $500, right? It's $450 off the bat. We always plan to give first. And it's fun. It's fun to do that. We started looking for ways together as a couple before we had kids that we could give to people. And honestly, again, I know you might think it sounds cliche, but I am living proof that giving brings so much joy. It is so fun to give to other people and to see how that blesses them and to see how God uses you as a pass-through to bless somebody else. Because here's the thing, everything that we make is not for our consumption. And so we can't let it own us. And I believe that our story early on, when my husband made $1,200 a month, and that's what we were living on and trying to pay rent and car insurance and buy groceries and all the things. And I was then teaching private piano and voice lessons and starting to bring in and supplement some more income so we could have heat in the house in Minnesota. But here's the thing, God was calling us to be a good steward with a little. Right? And sometimes I almost think that was such a huge lifelong lesson, because it seems like our consumption just increases with the more that we make, right? And so that margin could always stay the same. You could say, oh, well, we have more, let's spend more. We have more, let's spend more, right? And so that training ground for us was so good because it taught us hey, even though you only have a little, give first, right? And make sure that you are generous and not holding tightly to it because, oh, we only have a little. And God always provided. We actually have children's books called the Big God books that we have written specifically about the ways that God miraculously provided for us, even through our generosity and faithful giving. So number 3, if you want to be rich in 2025, be generous and watch how that blesses you, how that fills your soul. But also when we live our life in this way, right? When we are grateful, when we are generous, and when we are honest about looking at how blessed we are, it also breeds more joy, which brings joy to our families, brings joy to our creativity, which then grows your business, right? These are all compounding mindsets. And you can call me crazy. You can say, oh, she's just a mindset coach now. No, I'm not. But here, it starts with mindset. I will go on and on about that because I'm living proof that I can self-sabotage myself so quickly. Our minds are so powerful. So just remember that these are all compounding and will have a compound effect on your personal life and your business. Number 4 is be wise. Well, what do I mean? Be wise with the money that you have, right? We're being honest, we're being grateful, we're being generous, but when we are doing those things, we also need to be wise. These all play together. So for example, could you, once you have cash, could you invest your cash in an asset that produces income and then you give that income away? Right? How can we be wise with what God has given us? How can we be rich towards God? And go back to that parable that we read earlier and say, okay, God, how can I be rich towards you and steward what you have given me well? What does that look like? So be wise with what He has given you. And lastly, be open. Be open-handed with what He has given you, because we are so often just a pass through. Everything that we make is not for our consumption. And when we hold so tightly to it, or we need our stuff, we need our house or our car or whatever, when we need it, then that's when it becomes a problem, right? It starts to control us. And I don't want to live a life that shows my kids that that's what it's all about, right? That I am not okay with that. And so that convicts me to be very open and to be open-handed and generous, and to talk with our kids and say, hey, we're very grateful, we're very blessed to have what we have, to drive the cars that we do, to live in the place that we do, and to have access to the things that we have access to. But I want them to enjoy it. I want them to enjoy those things. We love giving those things to our kids, but we also want to teach them to be open-handed, to be generous, to be grateful, to be honest, and to be wise. And these are the 5 things. These are the 5 things that will help you be rich in 2025, because it's going to help you drown out the noise, drown out all of the other, get rich quick schemes that are like, I'm gonna make you this much money in 5 days or whatever, right? It's gonna drown out all of that. We're gonna hone in on what really matters. We're gonna get our mindset right. We're gonna be honest, we're gonna be grateful, we're gonna be generous, we're gonna be wise, and we're going to be open, because God has blessed us so much. And so we in turn get to bless others. Until next time, we'll see you later.